Welcome to a ghoulish episode of Kilonova Diaries.
Good job.
Hello. All right. We're on mic mode.
Hello.
Going
Hello. What's up?
in here.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to do that.
No, I liked
I
it.
thought it was funny earlier, so I wanted to do it
No,
again.
I liked it.
Okay, cool.
Don't need to explain it yourself. Okay. So,
What you thinking about?
I think that these video diaries are, I don't understand, like, who's the audience, I guess. That's probably just a control problem I have over, like, curating things I say towards a certain group of people.
That's interesting.
Almost as a requirement, not as, like, a good thing to do as a creator. Like, it's a requirement. I want to know who I'm speaking to.
So is that like specifically social, or is that just creation, or is it both? You're gonna say both, but social or creation, is that leaning, which one are you leaning towards with that? Like as a creator being represented a certain way, or
I
is it
guess,
about
like,
how you
to me,
represent yourself
making video
socially?
diaries or, like, making videos for, like, people where you're just talking, that is still social. That's not necessarily, like, you're creating, sure, but then anytime you talk to someone, you're technically creating then. The difference is that one of them is a record. Like, it can be taken as a record, and the other one is lost in hearsay in someone else's mind. But so I guess, like, when I think of, like, creating a story, I feel like that is, I have responsibility to the story and to the characters in the story, and so I feel as though I know who I'm writing for or how it's working through me, versus when I'm just talking like this, suddenly I'm wondering, how much do I need to say? How much do I need to catch somebody up on our life in order for them to understand the context of what we're saying right now? And that takes away some of the presentness of this. Like, I think I would enjoy these a lot more if I felt like I was actually being present and I could look back and be like, oh, that's me when I was present, versus like, oh, that's me when I was trying way too hard to be, like, speak well, and wondering whether or not the audience is gonna like what I'm saying, you know?
I like that you tried to do the being more present thing last time, at the end, saying that should turn off the camera, like act like the camera's not there or whatever. And I thought that was interesting. It obviously took until after I exhausted my character and you destroyed my character that it was able to actually be candid. And it took like several minutes to get to that point. And now I don't know how to get to that point naturally because it'd be so hard. It would have to be like, this doesn't take forever to set up. This doesn't, like, mentally, it isn't exhausting to set up to the point.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a really simple setup.
It
but
is, but it does create that.
It's still.
That's what I was feeling. It's like,
It's
I
like
don't
having
really
to put a
want to
condom on.
put all those things out right now. And then as we were talking and I was crying about those things, I felt like this actually would be beneficial to have later on, but not in the sense where we set everything up, but in the sense like you just take a camera and you start filming. And then I can film you when you want to. Kind of like we did when we went on that walk, you know? Like, that to me feels more spontaneous. That creates, like, conditions of being in a moment, being set in a moment with just a third party recorder, versus this whole setup feels like we are putting on different hats. We're thinking out what it means to be a creator, a content creator, and setting that up, and then, like, going for, oh, like that video, that YouTube video that you sent me, that person's like, you want to be a YouTube creator, you should just create right now or whatever, and he wanted to make that video, but all he did was play Sonic and talk over it, and that was really simple for him compared to all the things he said he used to do, to create a video.
Yeah. I really liked that video a lot.
Yeah.
Did you watch any videos from today?
No.
There's some fucking good ones.
Yeah, they sounded interesting.
I think one of them would be the most interesting to you because, I mean, you're going to find anything interesting, obviously, because I think you're just really empathetic and interested in things. But I think the one that will more easily cater to you is the first one that I sent. It, like, initially is talking about cameras in video games, but that is relative to everything, or relevant to everything. And then he ends up going on a whole spiraling rant about perspectives, like first person writing is different than a first person camera, and that's one of his main arguments is like,
Let me just make sure you're recording.
is it still working?
You hit record before, right?
Yeah. I just swiped down to refresh it, right?
It just looks like
This is our first time recording with this iPhone as a second camera.
I can't tell if it's recording or not.
Oh, it's definitely not.
Shit. It was recording and then it stopped for some reason.
Just want to do that. We got 4 seconds and 41 seconds. It's okay, because you were talking most of the time, so it's not like that was necessary. Wow.
That sucks.
So I wasn't being looked at the whole time.
Yeah, let's hit it back a few minutes.
Okay.
To get Harrison in it. Harrison was not being filmed, but
It's my fault.
your audio will be there.
My audio will be there. And you were the one that was primarily talking the whole time. But I'll just resume where I was.
Do the whole ghoul thing again. Or the... Yeah, do that thing. The ghoulish episode.
Shh. Getting into character. Welcome to a new ghoulish episode. Welcome to a ghoulish episode.
Wait, pause. I just think it should be lower to match mine a bit.
Okay, yeah. Good call.
Alright.
Welcome to a ghoulish episode of Kilonova Diaries.
Good job.
Hello.
So, you were wanting to talk about
Right.
the videos
Yeah,
you
so
watched.
I sent you a few videos today. I think that you would be interested in them. I think the first one that I sent would be the most interesting. All of them semi-relate to video games in some way, as a form of creation and storytelling, and also just technological feats and people persevering through a lot of hard things to create it. It's very draining. But the first one was initially geared towards a gaming conversation, but then kind of derails into a lot of other conversations of film, storytelling, perspectives of character writing. And it's first, the entry of the rabbit hole is basically what is a second person camera in a game? And then in film as well, what is a second person camera? And so one of the arguments he brought up was, just as an example, like a fourth wall break is technically a second person moment because it's the audience in a way. There's a lot of things that he's bouncing around with because that's kind of a hard argument to make. And in the end, one of the things he says, like a lot of the examples he brought up were like, well, technically all of these are second person because it's the creator of the thing defines what second person is relative to the media they're using. Video games are a very confusing addition to this whole conversation because a first person camera for a video game is confusing now that you're a player controlling a character through their first person, and in this situation you are addressed as you, but you're the player, and so you're like stepping in the shoe. I mean, it's kind of what you talked about with Life is Strange, like how you have to empathize with Max, and so it's just like an interesting dynamic that is kind of unnatural and confusing. Anyways, that was really incoherent, but I'm interested in that video, and I was being inspired by video game startup groups making games and having little cute success stories that took them years.
Yeah, my thoughts did start to trail away, but
I was not
I'll watch the
engaging
video.
you at all.
That's okay.
One of them, as another one, because Doki Doki seems interesting to you, likely. It was talking about the story of the creation of Doki Doki Literature
No, I
Club.
do think I find these topics interesting. I just think sometimes when somebody explains something to me, if they're not like super engaging, it's really hard to pay attention to what they're saying. But like,
Yeah, I'm just kind of explaining without
yeah,
a goal
well,
or a
it's a two-way
target.
street. Whether or not I can listen to you, and
That's true. I'm
whether or
very
not you can
similar.
entertain me, it's
Yeah,
a two-way street.
I struggle to do that too.
We're looking at the time. We're like,
Well, today wasn't really a very motivated day. We missed Thursday again.
yeah.
We were vibing. We're still adapting to one thing, which is we have date day and creative day. We started this like months back, and recently we switched them because after a long work week, we want date day to be first now. Initially, it was creative day.
Yeah. But even then, this time we filmed on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then on Thursday,
She had a film idea, and we followed the impulse and
yeah.
sent it, and it was good, but the scene
I
took a
don't
lot
really,
longer than
yeah.
thought.
I don't really like it. I don't really like the things that I make. I especially think that I have a hard time with realism. I think I find realism to be maybe not necessarily
Accurate.
to what art should be. I think it's like along the lines of why I favor animation sometimes for emotional storytelling over filmmaking. Despite the fact that some actors like can really bring out emotions in a way that's like it's clearly not realism, but it's like it's still like the accurate emotion, I guess. It's believable, it feels true. But with animation, I just think that like, you know, Scott McCloud, I don't know if you guys know that, but he's like a comic book what would you call it? Like comic book study person, a comic scholar, and he talks about how the more iconic something is drawn, the easier it is for us to place ourselves onto that character. Like humans, when we see outlets and stuff, we think like, oh, that's a smiley face, you know? Like we're constantly looking to put ourselves onto other things. So the more iconic a character is drawn, the more we can be a stick figure, for example, the more that we can be like, oh, I recognize that as that could be me, you know, that person reminds me of myself. But then if you see someone like me right now or Harrison, we're very detailed. We have things on our like details on our face and our mannerisms. And the more detailed we are, the harder it is for you to look at us and put yourself inside of us.
Yeah.
Like you can like look at us and be like, hey, you're similar to me, but you know we're different. And that changes the way that one empathizes with a character in a story.
Yeah.
Harrison's getting bored.
No, I'm fucking tired, dude.
Okay, long-winded way of saying
Well, I've also heard you talk about this a
the
lot.
caricature sort of, yeah. And then I also took like an art philosophy class where they were saying that sometimes the caricature can be closer to real life because it's more of the essence of the thing than the actual thing itself.
I like stick figures a lot.
And so it's like our interpretation of something, which is more often you see with like painting or drawing or cartoon characters. Our interpretation of something captures the essence more than just simply replicating the real life thing. And this script that I wrote for the short was very much a realism of what me and Harrison's life is like outside of our creative endeavors, the in-betweens when we just like can't really create or it feels like a struggle more than other times to create. If we find ourselves constantly fighting different vices.
And having to upkeep a relationship.
Yeah.
which is a
which
whole
sometimes
art
the
form.
relationship is like helping us get out of our vices, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it is just another vice. It's
Yeah.
just another resource to dissociate
Or
into.
a
To
gateway drug. Mm.
Yeah, you should do a little hair flip. Oh my god, my hair.
I've been liking how the shadows cast on your face right now. I have like uh Blender brain on, like 3D model brain, so seeing the shadow cast in that particular way makes it seem like it's because I can move the light around because I look at that now.
Mm-hmm.
And so it feels like you feel kind of surreal because of that lighting. Because you don't really see this kind of lighting intentionally done on film
Yeah.
or in real life, honestly. Like, it's really rare that lighting looks like that on someone.
Huh.
And your hair is very elaborately shaped, and so the shadow is very elaborate. So it almost comes off as if you have, like, one of those skin. How do I phrase this in a progressive way? I desire to do that, personally. Skin pigmentation differentiation. They
Yes.
look cool. But it looks like that, kind of
Interesting.
like a face tattoo in a way. But like discoloration sounds weird, but that's literally what it is, like pigmentation discoloration or whatever. But that makes it sound like it's not supposed to happen, and like biologically it might not supposed to happen. But I think it's like cool and unique. Like if there's like a person creating our characters, like in Sims, they wanted it to look like that. So I think it's cool.
My vices
Video games.
are reincarnated manhwa stories, masturbation and hentai,
Mm-hmm.
spending money on little things that I don't need,
Mm-hmm.
um, sugar, um, contemplating whether or not there's something wrong with my relationship when I'm in one.
So Vice.
Um, It's like an
It's a
outlet.
fascination.
It's like a channel, a way
Mm-hmm.
for me to channel what's wrong with my
Yeah,
life into
non-traditional
something that I
vice.
can focus on that feels more stimulating, probably because of like
It's an intellectual vice.
romantic movies and whatnot. You know, the idea that there's trouble in my relationship is like
Mm.
kind of a dramatic, stimulating thing in your
Mm-hmm.
brain, you know,
Yeah,
versus like
creating
thinking
drama.
about your own life. That's what we're all running away from, is thinking about how to fix ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think those are my main vices. People pleasing, I guess, is a vice. What are yours?
I think my vices are hmm. They vary like depending on when I want to engage in them. It's very confusing. So my like OG vice would have to be weed. I haven't gotten high in a long time. I stopped smoking joints and dab pens, etc. like 13 or 14 months ago. Edibles I stopped like 6 months after that, maybe 8 months after that. So it's been a while for that as well. Um, Shrooms, they don't really feel like a vice because it's kind of hard to consistently do them. Like you can microdose, but I haven't really been motivated because I was intentionally pushing my limits the last time I was engaging in it, and it was intentional to like kind of induce anxiety, but it kind of did like a mini trauma response. So now I have like a less of a desire to engage in it, even though I think it's a healthy drug to use in moderation, obviously. Um,
You're so
and
cute.
then, did I say alcohol? Alcohol is like depends, but recently it's definitely been something I've been indulging in a bit. Um, if I don't know, drugs just feel kind of sickening, and yet they're so engaging and alluring. There's
And
definitely
like,
something to be studied about it. Obviously, it's been
what
studied, but
is drugs?
yeah, and drugs is like forever. Drugs will always exist. It's literally something that can stimulate. It's like an exterior substance, and that will always exist because we're always like we're gonna find space drugs eventually. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
plants
But I don't
have
even mean just
drugs.
like drug
Like,
drugs, I guess.
but
Because like
it's
for
also an
some people, like
existential
there's
thing.
things Just whatever you can get hooked on in your brain is a drug.
Yeah. I think that's detaching it into like an analogy way, and I'm not saying that's bad, but you're
But
definitely
you're talking about
elaborating.
physical external substances when you say drugs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But we were
Mm.
talking about vices. I was just talking about drugs, and then I was going to go into
Oh.
extended
Well,
vices.
my vices always, all of them feel like drugs to me.
Well, yes.
But there is
Okay.
different
Anyways,
ones
this
that
is.
alter your brain chemistry in a different way than simple
Mm-hmm.
addiction probably alters your brain chemistry.
So
I
then
was just trying to clarify
alcohol.
what you were talking about, so that kind of was important, but
Okay.
maybe they knew what you
I'm a
were
little
talking
foggy
about.
now, but I think
Sorry.
generally that those are yeah, those are the only drugs that I really engage in. I haven't done anything outside of that, and I don't really feel motivated uh, much. It was already hard to get into shrooms, but
Your vices?
vices. Yeah, I share a similar one. I'm not. I don't think I'm as. It's different. I think me and Antonia's like porn history and addiction and like. Well, I guess that's it. And like intent is a little bit different. I come from a different generation, and I also come from a different niche.
And you're also a
Um,
male.
and I'm also a male, and so I have a different experience with it.
A different code wiring that was given to you.
Exactly, and different like biological whatever. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Um, I mostly believe in nurture. That's the kind of person I am in this moment. For a while, I've been like this. I'll probably stay like that for a while. So, anyways, blah blah blah. Um, yeah, like my I do enjoy hentai also. I think she's more fascinated with it, but I think my uh, the interest for me is the fact that it's like art, it's like drawings, and I really like that. But I also really love hypersexual shit, even though like recently it's been just like or do I just get absolutely demolished mentally when I see something that triggers me, or do I get upset and disgusted and confused? I
He
love
doesn't have a strategy yet.
I what does that mean? What does that mean?
You don't have a strategy that works for you yet
Strategy for what?
for being triggered by fuckable things.
Everything's fuckable. Um,
But you've definitely taken out porn. But one thing I've noticed is that although I might watch hentai and masturbate more than
a
you
lot more.
seem to sexualize things in your everyday life more than I do.
Yes, I think we also might express it differently, which is another thing.
I think because we're feeling it differently. Like for me, it's a lot about story. So I often can like picture someone fucking, and I usually do for like people in general because I feel like it's a way to vulnerabilize them. That's not a
Mm.
word, but like it's a way for me to look at
Yeah, it
them
is.
and like start to gather more information about who they are as a human. What do they look like when they're vulnerable? What do they look like?
Yeah, you can
You know, and a
download
lot of
them.
what we're doing in society is like presenting ourselves to people
Mm-hmm.
to be fuckable or to be attracted so that we can start
Mm-hmm.
a family and whatnot. So it's a valid
It's also like
it's a valid
imagining people with their
observation.
underwear. You know what I mean? It's the same
Yeah.
effect. It helps you approach
Yeah.
people more.
And so I can do that and just not get triggered, even if it's a really hot person. Like I can do that and just simulate it and be like, okay, that was it, you know? Like, but I feel like for you, you can't do that. I'm most attracted to wanting to fuck, sorry, wanting to fuck other people when the story is good, when the story is juicy, you know?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Honestly, I wonder if our dynamic is very fascinating. I'm gonna tie it back to porn, but like we've talked about this. She's more of a writer than I am, and I'm more of a visual person, whatever. And that says a lot psychologically already. I've always been like a pictures over words kind of person, and she likes both, right? But she caters towards writing more, and so that says something about her person. And so I'm wondering if writing, there's visual storytelling, right? I love visual storytelling so much, but if I'm staring at visuals more often, I'm likely going to be hyperfixating on things more often that are visual. And if she cares about story, it kind of reflects her writing stuff. You know, she talks about the story of the interaction or the sexual engagement or the person, or like, how do they have massive tits? That's an interesting story.
Yeah. Or like how do those massive tits add to her character, her whole life that she's lived with those massive tits, you know?
There's a booger in my nose. I'm gonna be pissed. Is there anything?
I don't see it. No.
Swag.
You
Yeah,
should
but
just get a
I'm
bloody nose right now while talking about porn, just like.
dude. So I obviously have a intense fascination with physique and visuals, and that ties into like I have so many reasons for why that's probably happening to me. First off, porn at like 6th grade. I'm gonna say it. I was a Brazzers boy. That's how I was raised. Brazzers is for kids. Brazzers is literally made for kids, and they got me when I was young. Changed my brain chemistry for the worst or better. I don't know. That's definitely a neutral in my opinion. Because I don't want to hate myself. Anyways, where's it going with that?
Your browser's
Oh, no, yeah, visual. Anyways, I lost my brain because I said that. I committed.
Just wanted to say that he was a Brazzers
no.
boy.
I was gonna go into a point. Like I literally derailed myself because I had the option
you
to
look really
say that.
cute right now.
Thanks. You look really cute too.
Thanks. I wonder what you look like. Oh, yeah.
We could like crop it.
Yeah, you can make us kiss.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Post.
Anyways.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting him being that way, a Brazzers boy, and like he also used to follow a lot of Instagram accounts of like girls with,
hypersexual shit.
Like really good.
Okay, wait,
bodies.
hold up. Pause. I don't want to be lumped in with that.
He followed a lot of Instagram accounts with girls who were like showing their boobs, sexualizing themselves, you know, the sluts. I'm joking. That's not my character, and that's not his character.
Okay, wait, no, actually, I kind of did, but it wasn't like classic male. It was definitely still I'm sexualizing these people.
He found a way to make it okay. Like he liked their character.
Yeah, I liked these because that's like the confusing thing about my condition, dude.
Yes.
Is it's literally like silver linings playbook. Me.
No.
Oh, fuck. Okay, so basically, this is confused. This really torment because it took me so long to try and figure this out and like explain it to Antonia because I still don't fully understand it. But like, the facts and also okay, there's so much. So early in our relationship, there was this one situation when we were at a restaurant and basically it's on still.
Yeah.
We were at a restaurant and basically this people walked by, and I was staring at them. I was fucking staring at them, right? And I was like, interesting. And I'm not self-conscious about that. I'm gonna fucking stare at someone. I might like be I'm gonna be respectful, but I'm saying like in the context of me and her, I'm not gonna be like, oh sorry, I want to stare at that. I have limitations, whatever. But anyways, the point is, my immediate argument to her to justify it, because I got a little bit self-conscious, was that I'm a visual artist. So it's confusing because it's tied into the fact that I really like drawings. I really like form. I like visual storytelling. I like character. I like eyes. I like features. I like niche little cute things. And the details are a little like hard for me to digest, like real human beings, real bodies. A little bit weird. Again, Brazzers brain. But like, and cartoons. But like, it's mixed up. Because am I not allowed to be interested in something that's visual simply because it's also sexual? And I'm also a male, and I'm also white, and I'm also...
No, because I honestly think that
It's just,
anything
like,
visual...
Shut up, dude.
A lot of the things
Fuck.
that we look at visual, whether or not we're like thinking about fucking, we are being seduced by visuals, you know? Like there's an aspect of like, oh, I like how this aesthetic looks. I like that. But we're being seduced in a way, like by that lifestyle. We want that lifestyle. So it's all about desire, I think. Most of the time when we like the way something looks, I think we're desiring something out of it. So I don't think that you... I think it's... Even if you were sexualizing them or something, like...
Indulge.
Right. I just think that's valid. That's why when I say that, I think that's good that you explained yourself, because some people might be thinking, oh, stereotypical. But really, I think you were a single guy, first of all. Even if you weren't single, like if you still followed those people, I never asked him not to follow them anymore, but he unfollowed them. He wanted to focus me present on me.
Yeah. I started just slowly like pulling them out. Every time they would come at my feed and be like, okay, it was good knowing you. Bye. Parasocial. Yeah. Also, wait. I wanted to get to that point. You can return to that. Hold up. The non-traditional guy argument I made. Technically, I was a little bit brainwashed by the internet era of COVID. There was, goth girl trend everywhere, etc. There's a lot of trends, blah blah blah. But that was the one that I was drawn to the most, and it definitely just like just scrambled my brain and took all of my attention. And so it's definitely shaped a lot of it. And then all the fucking girls who just absorbed it and then just started embodying it and were taking advantage of their attractive features. Go for it. I'm all for it. I don't give a fuck. Do it. I like it. Um, that was mixing into me writing a story also, and I was trying to create this female character, and I got it. Not, we can't be doing this manic pixie shit. She's gonna help with that. I don't want to get lumped into that shit either. Okay, I don't want to do that. Every time I watch a manic pixie, I'm like, I get it, but stop. And then like, she's not real, dude. Okay. But I was creating that character, and so I was like, okay, well, this girl's like really fucking cute, and like, yeah, I'd fuck the shit out of that, but like, also visually, I like your style, and like, also you look cool and you have a good sense, blah, blah, blah. You might be absorbing it from something that's not yourself and you're unoriginal, but you still look good with it. So I'm gonna take this, I'm gonna follow you and keep brainwashing myself with how you look and the way you present yourself as a way to help create a character that I wanted to fill in. I wanted to create this. I don't think I would write it as a man pixie, but it might have inevitably become that, just because it's a natural way of. I think all the male stories are going to do that by a natural course of action, unless you consciously try and not do that. I was trying, but I think it would have overtaken me. Anyways, I was trying to gather inspiration for what that might look like, that character, and I fucking loved it. I loved the aesthetic. I wanted to. The way my mindset was that this exists right now, and it's fucking beautiful. It's beautiful. In like 100 years, people are gonna have my film as a way to know exactly what beautiful women looked like. And I loved that. I loved the idea of helping preserve this art, because these people are working hard to figure out their own little niche, their own little way of doing it. And just because it's like a trend, just because it's whatever, it's still beautiful. And I'd also come to it.
Hmm. I think that like sexual desires and artistic desires, they like naturally blend together. So I think that was a very well put way to explain why you were indulging in that, basically.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. It's like, obviously we see things all the time, but whether or not you want to spend your time looking at something and studying it or masturbating to it.
But I just want to clear it. I didn't ever masturbate as
Like
Instagram
he
photos.
never
I
like
would go to
looked at
I would
them.
watch I would look at cartoon porn. That's what I would like.
Yeah.
I would get on and off of Pornhub, but then I
Yeah.
would go to like Newgrounds. Newgrounds gas, bro.
Okay,
Hit
okay,
that
okay.
shit up. Sorry.
Anyways, I think that that is. Oh, you just bricked me. I think that that's there's a reason for why we indulge in things, and if we understand why we're indulging, and then I think it's fair to do it, to go on that journey to understand things, especially for artists who are trying to explain things or take things in and put them back out for other people to learn and new perspectives and whatnot.
It's also history.
I was gonna say that like that was a it's kind of a can of worms now at this point, but that was a point in our relationship where like you were saying you weren't attracted to me,
Mm-hmm.
and it was partially because you had like these ideas of these girls out there who had a certain body type or a certain way that they held themselves and took care of their body,
Mm-hmm.
and
It's also their job at that
that
point.
they
So.
actually exist or something, and because they exist you think that you want that instead of something else.
Brainwash.
Yeah. Anyways, we've come a long way with that. And I was talking about that because I was saying that like you cut out porn and those things as a way to be present. But I was also mentioning that like I don't think that you needed to do that for me or anything. I mean,
It was for me.
maybe it makes a big difference.
I was
But
trying to
it's
help
not
myself
like as though
focus on
like I
him.
ever wanted you to do that.
And I liked that.
Yeah. Well, I'm personally saying this not like to reassure you, but because I think that some girls have like a really strong issue with guys following certain people on Instagram or watching porn. And I think that like just being like, oh, well, why are you watching porn? You have me is a very negative
It's
way to go
cringe,
about it.
too.
Or to be like, I can't compete with those people is a very
Therefore,
negative way to think about it. Because that's just gonna like make a guy feel like he needs to hide it, you know? Or like, I just have to stop because she doesn't like it. And that doesn't help them understand more about
Bottle it up.
themselves. Yeah, that doesn't help them understand more about themselves and why they're doing those things. Why do they want to watch porn? Why do they feel pulled to these things despite having a girlfriend? You guys should watch Don John.
I was about to say that shit,
That's
dude.
a fun movie.
She showed me Don John. Don John is such a good fucking movie. If you are hyperfixated on porn, or if you just want a good movie, is watch Don John.
Yeah. I found it really relatable as a
Really
female.
good.
And
So
then
relatable.
also like I think anyone would find it relatable for
In this
like
day and
understand
age.
yeah.
And also
With all the stuff that we have
empathy.
in our face all the time
Yeah.
about just because I
It's
just don't think
explicit as fuck.
anyone ever really I don't think any of us fully understand sex. I think a lot of us think of it as a performance and we go into it, you know, being like, I gotta perform, I gotta be hot, I gotta have a good body for when I go into sex, I gotta, you know, moan right, I gotta know what like this guy's preferences are so I can replicate some of that, you know. And
I gotta be consistent. I gotta be rhythmic.
I gotta go
I
5 times.
Gotta go 5 times. I can't cry. I can't moan like a girl. But these things never affected
I
me.
like it.
But
Moans
I noticed that these are things that affect guys, and I've heard like these are like norms or whatever. And I think it's so sad when I hear people talk about this stuff because like I've had a very lucky. I might have created my own luck, blah blah blah. But I've had a very like lucky set of circumstances experiencing drugs and experiencing sex. I think they were all none of them felt negative or forced or scary or whatever. They all felt comfortable and healthy. And so I don't think I ever had to deal with like feeling self-conscious or scrutinized. I was definitely self-conscious as fuck, but I never felt like someone was making fun of me in a way, and so I don't think I ever had to worry about like, should I moan right? I was brainwashed by porn, so that's a whole thing. But I don't think I ever felt like, shit, can I not go? I read all the YouTube terms of service today, so I'm a little worried. But
when I first like started having sex, I used to think about it, but like. I used to think about it when I first started having sex. Well, before I had started having sex. But then once I started doing it, I really just lost myself in it. That I didn't even think about how I was moaning or any of that stuff. Because I was like, my head was like so in pleasure mode.
Did you ever feel like you were being mentally controlled because of your insecurities because of a certain person or anything? Like, did it ever cross your mind?
Because of a certain person?
Like, I'm so bad at talking. Did it actually go away like permanently when you first started having sex?
It didn't go away permanently. It just depends on the people who I'm with. Like some people you're with them and you're like, you don't even think you're not self-conscious about your body or anything because like the chemistry is just right, you know. And then some people you're with and you're like, I kind of don't really want to be doing this, and then you just start overthinking everything, I guess. But yeah, yeah, I don't know if it goes away permanently though. I definitely think you're the first person where I felt like you didn't like my body sexually, which made me feel uncomfortable because a lot of other guys, you know, there's always like something that they can like fixate on and no one's ever said anything. Yeah, you did, but then you said something. Which made me that really like changed because you were saying things that felt contradictory to how you were acting, like saying that you weren't attracted to me or necessarily attracted to me, but you were acting attracted to me. And so that created a complex in my head, like, oh, so he doesn't consciously think I'm attractive, but he is attracted to me, which made me more angry because it made me feel like you wanted me, but you were also, I mean, I don't think you were ashamed of me. But, like, the idea that, like, if you didn't think I was attractive, that you would be ashamed of me is, like, triggering, you know?
Say the last part again.
That you did think I was attractive, but you were ashamed to think that because of objectively you thought I wasn't attractive or something. Because physically you acted like you were attracted to me. But then you said that you weren't necessarily attracted to me.
This is interesting. We've had a lot of conversations before about this, but every time we dive in, it's new.
But at the same time, I don't think I ever believed that you weren't attracted to me. But
So
it did like consciously make me think about it during sex.
What do you mean by define attracted? We need to get that. There's some communication
Attracted
issues.
as in like you look at me and you think I'm pretty or you want me, I guess. You know, it's like it's not necessarily just like looking at someone and being like that person's objectively hot. It's like you're looking at them and you think I want them, you know? I want to touch them. I want to be with them.
Didn't I already?
You acted that way, but then you said you weren't attracted to me.
Because I have like a scope of what I have been like getting off to my whole life. And it was harder to go against what my body has been trained to like. And that's something I've been very conscious about, is the idea of being brainwashed. And if you can't accept that you're being brainwashed, work on that. So that's why when I was, unfollowing a lot of people online and trying to work out all these porn, like I wasn't able to get off without things, you know what I mean? Like people have talked about this plenty online. I've seen videos, thumbnails or whatever. Once you can work that out, it clears up your head and you can work on being grounded again. And you can also work on like making your standards more grounded. So I was struggling with projecting like things that were more appealing onto her to like assist my pursuit, which is like it worked, but it's not exactly a good thing to do. I'm talking to Gen Alpha. Be careful with porn, okay? But then there's also a part of me that's like, why can't we all just watch porn? Why can't we all just normalize it? Why can't porn be on at the bus stop? You know what I mean?
Because then we'd all have like sex brain constantly, which isn't always rational, which doesn't always lead to forethinking.
Yes. So it's very complex. Because I have conflicting values.
But I do think I agree with the fact that I think everybody probably should watch porn at some point or something that works for them. Don't force yourself to like something you don't like. But I'm sure there's something out there that would work for people to understand more about what they like and what they don't like about sex.
Yeah, that's what you were talking about with porn.
Yeah.
It helped you learn about...
Yeah, hentai specifically helped me learn more about what I like. And I just think that's because with drawings, it's easier to like recreate certain emotions and stories versus like watching people act in porn. Sometimes when they seem like shit actors, it like didn't make it believable. So I just was watching people put body parts together.
Yeah.
And that wasn't...
Browsers.
That didn't help me understand myself better. That just helped me like visually look at it and be like, okay, that's kind of how it's supposed to go. But once you already know how sex is supposed to go, which is like I had, years of experience at that point, porn was boring. So hentai, when I started watching hentai, I was like, oh, this is like, there's like story here. A lot of it's fucked up. I'm not endorsing hentai, by the way, but I do think that like these fucked up desires are interesting to explore why we might find them attractive, and we shouldn't be afraid of that. We shouldn't be afraid of our shadow self. But not saying that that's like how sex should be. And also I think the men have really the men have really that project women liking things that they don't like a lot in hentai, so beware of that if you check it out.
It's very CNC. Like as the audience member, it's very CNC. In the story, it comes off as just
yeah,
unconsensual.
Yeah. But it's also true that like in hentai, there's a safer space to explore CNC in a way. Like
exactly.
Like when I like read something about like a girl who like has a guy come on to her unconsensually and she ends up liking it, and then I see that the person who like wrote that manga or whatever is a girl, then I'm digesting it as someone who desires to have something that feels good, but that's not like they want to be raped. They want to like have sex without saying I want to have sex. You know what I mean? Like they want to like
boundary.
it has a different desire to it.
Very.
Like,
I
when I
like
was
CNC.
younger, I really didn't like the idea that I was sexual. And so I would have a lot of fantasies where I was being taken advantage of, because then I wouldn't have to say I wanted it, but I could still have it.
Yeah.
And that was like a big thing for my
Did you notice that?
CNC. What? No.
The light went blue for a second. What if it's dying or something?
Well, we should probably stop talking. But this was a good conversation. Oh,
wanna
by
keep
the way,
going.
Harrison is very attractive to me now, so he says. But I don't think my body is conventionally attractive to begin with. I used to use that a lot. Also, I didn't take care of myself a lot for a while in college, so... What's that face? I didn't take care of my body a lot in college. I was really tired all the time. I didn't sleep, and I didn't always feed myself the healthiest things. Not, like, consistently. I definitely went on, like, training arcs and whatnot, but, like...
College makes you very erratic.
It was rough to be stable with that.
Unstable.
And then I also used to like the idea that I was using my smarts to get guys more than I was using my body and my looks.
Dude,
and
I was so attracted to her brain, dude.
Yeah, and so it's fun to like think about how to play the game in a way where you can like get someone to be attracted to you. By actual skill, and not just this is what my body looks like.
Dude, dude, our arc, I want to talk about our arc on one of these, like...
Oh, wait, not saying that, like...
Cool.
Not saying that curating your body to be a certain way isn't skill, because that's true that it is. Like someone who works really hard on their body, that does take skill. Yeah.
That's a good correction.
But that's not what I was
using. It's unconventional, though.
As skill.
The way that... I feel like it's socially unconventional to do it by intellect and chess games.
Yeah.
And... there's so many things to unpack in this. I want to get into it, but...
Yeah,
this is going to be an infinite video.
It's a different skill, for sure. That's so interesting, yeah.
Also, just, like, there's so many layers of things that, like, personally, just talking from my experience through this whole relationship, like, getting to this point, there were so many fucking things I had to, like, hoops I had to jump through, and things I had to, like, work at, and, like, consciously trying to do something every day, mentally, to get to the point of being able to engage at like a very grounded, present level with someone, that my brain was not my brain was not wired to be attracted to Antonia. I wanted to be attracted to Antonia, so I fucking worked so hard. This is coming. You worked
so hard to be attracted. I'm just kidding. I'm more comfortable with it now. I used to cry about this.
I worked so hard because I wanted it so badly. I worked so hard to unwire all this nurture, conditioning. This is why did I say nature earlier? I meant nurture if I said nature earlier. I believe nurture is more important than, or more prominent, like if we're talking chicken and the egg type shit, I believe in nurture more. But I feel like my brain was nurtured into certain niches and certain desires and certain standards, and that's like, I feel like pretty much universal to everybody. To a certain extent, we're going to feel that way. I might be more of a victim than you are. I don't know if you have... she's more attracted to auras.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
She's more capable of just being like, Harrison... I find you attractive. I'm more focused on, like, what do you look like?
Yeah. Other than the fact that I kind of have, like, daddy issues, so I kind of do want, like a really, like, tall, strong guy.
Yeah, that's also a factor.
Harrison is, like Prince
I'm tall,
to me.
But I'm not
He's
strong.
like my type, exactly. So that's a little bit different. But I've been with a lot of people who like well, like I'm saying like my grade A type. Like obviously I have other types that I find like stereotypically attractive. But for the most part, I'm really more attracted to people's minds and their whole aura, the way they hold themselves up.
I feel more proud to be with you.
There's people who I've been attracted to where like 10 years ago I'd probably be like, I'm definitely not attracted to that person if I don't know them looks wise. But it's very easy for me to like suddenly be very comfortable and attracted to somebody. Even though I wouldn't necessarily say they're my type, I guess. Yeah. Or like I didn't have the same conditioning that you have, which is partially just a female thing. You know, I grew up on the era of movies, too, where you see, like, Seth Rogen with Katherine Heigl and Knocked Up, you know? Like, I grew up in that era where it was very, like, normal, like, for a guy who's not conventionally attractive to be with a really hot girl. We love you, Seth. Yeah. And so I think that, in general, it's not the same for girls, but... I also, there were so many movies, like, around that time. Like, She's Out of My League. Have you seen that movie? No.
She
Anyways,
still has to give me the whole rom-com education. I have like
a funny guy can get a hot girl,
random.
I guess.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I also just like wanted to make everyone feel
Also, all
accepted.
cartoons. Not all cartoons, but there's a lot of cartoons where the guy is like not attractive
Yeah.
and the female is like
Yeah. Dude, like insert
an
all of anime.
hourglass.
Insert all of
Dude,
anime.
all of anime is like
Basic brown haired, like
I'm all for it.
stick figure looking anime guy with like a harem of like 4 different types of
15
beautiful
women
girls.
that are different kinds.
And he's just a basic nice guy, you know.
Yeah, he
He's just
manifested
like
all of them. None of them are actually real. In the story, he's schizophrenic, diagnosed for his whole life. He gets a new one every 4 months because his brain gets bored, and so he invents a new one.
Yeah.
It's a good anime idea.
That's funny.
Someone make that.
That's like literally what's happening in the manga. Like, you know what? We need a 5th girl in here.
Yeah,
Let's get a 5th
get a
girl
new
in
arc.
here.
Let's get
She's
a new
not in the
arc.
top 4, but like,
Yeah, I'm getting bored of this bitch, dude, and that one. Honestly, you're still fire, but I want another one. Actually, you know what? Let's do a combo. You and you. That will be the introduction episode. New girl fucks the hottest girl, in my personal opinion as the writer. Well, not fuck, but they're gonna be like next to each other, so it's gonna be really easy for the audience to be like, what would they look like if they were kissing right now?
Yeah, okay.
I indulged in that bit. I love doing that.
It's cute. Okay. Well, I think that's all for now then.
Yeah, that was like probably 15 minutes, dude.
Let's go for 50 more minutes.
Okay.
We're at 52 minutes right now.
We are at 52 minutes? Okay, I'm raw posting this. I'm not doing shit.
Yeah. We just gotta cut our 2 heads together and that's all.
Yep.
Okay. Bye.